Well, thank you for staying with us on the program here by this Thursday. I'm joined by Phil Aroje, public affairs commentator. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
I also have another lawyer this morning, third lawyer on the program, incidentally, talking about Matthias Obayowa, a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you.
All right, let's just kick this discussion, the last part of it. Let me start with you, Aroje. Let's look at a man who got dressed like you too, almost like you, I should say. Yes, at the court on Tuesday. Talking about Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose. What did his appearance in court that they portend for what we eventually saw as the bill that was granted to Nnamdi Kanu?
Yes, Ayo Fayose has become an enigma. He's become an institution of his own when it comes to the issue of quote and unquote the fight for fundamental human rights. This is not the first time he'll be doing that. I remember sometime in February when the DSS stormed the hotel room of the Apostle Suleiman, Johnson Suleiman, that he also had to go there in Ekiti State, Ekiti. He went there at that night and then practically took Apostle Johnson Suleiman to the government house and all the rest. He has even promised also that he's going to appear in the trial of the Ezazaki, the Shiite leader of Kaduna State and all the rest. If you look at the situation of the country today, I personally feel that we're having a situation where you're having divide and rule. Like SSS said, that's the Senator Shehu Sani said some time ago, that when it comes to the issue of fighting corruption in the presidency, the president or the presidency or the executive arm, the presidency use the deodorant. But when it comes to fighting corruption in other arms of government, use insecticide and pesticides and all manner of things. So it's like we're not using the same measurement to deal with everybody in this country. For example, a former governor of Adamawa State was convicted, was an accelerated trial, convicted and sentenced to some years in terms of imprisonment. 5 years in Galari. Yes, and then what we find was that a month later, he was released to go for medical treatment. Wasn't that enough grounds for release? Good. If you juxtapose that with Nnamdi Kanu case, you are granting him bail on health conditions. So, in other words, he doesn't even deserve the bail or merit the bail, but because of his health condition. And you know that most people at that level who wants to go for medical checkup wouldn't do that in Nigeria. And our president has showed a clear example that we don't have good medical facilities in this country that people at that level should go for. You grant a man bail on health condition, and you're asking him to deposit his both Nigerian passport and the international passport. You're asking him not to be in company of more than 10 persons. Supposing those who are to attend to him will be more than 10, what will happen? You're asking the man not to speak to the press or grant interview. You're asking the man to restrict the movement and all the rest. How do you expect him to go for the medical treatment? So the conditions, like your earlier guests have said, is too stringent, and it is something that some Nigerians, some of us are thinking that, look, it's like we're having divide and rule, and there are several instances in this country as of today for us to agree that we're having divide and rule. So why your father should go in there? Because he too is being oppressed. Don't forget, as a sitting governor, his account has been frozen. And when he got a court injunction for the account to be defrozen, a man that he was owing, who was paid, the son, Ozakome, that he paid for his legal services rendered to him, eventually they went to freeze the man's account, which of course the court said no. At the time that Fayose transferred money to him, there was no lien on his account. So we see a lot of things, contradictions and so many things happening now, and it becomes difficult. Let's stay with the health grounds, for Nnamdi Kanu. Yes. Justice Binta Nyako had said that over time she had noticed every time the man came to court, he would sit in the dock as against standing. So that suggested that she was a bit emotional. But the question would be, perhaps, why didn't that same level of emotion rub off on the conditions on which he was granted bail?
Yes, for me, it's a self-contradiction. Yes, she tried to show some empathy to see where because I'm not sure it was a medical report, attached to that application for bail. But there may have been a lot of verbal depositions on affidavit to say that this man is sick and all that. And she has also noticed him, that each time he comes, he's always sitting down and sweating profusely. And that was a concern to grant bail. Like you rightly noted, there are a number of persons that will also apply for bail who were not granted, but his own was granted on those exceptional which is head ground. And now, why would a judge grant bail on head grounds and then impose conditions that make it impossible for him to even attain that best, state of health? So the court has ordered that he should send him whether quarterly or monthly statement of a state of health to the court. And then he has been taken deprived of his international passport. He cannot travel abroad for treatment. Like I've rightly noted by my colleague here, the president has set the example, and even most of our political leaders, that even when they are having a ear infection, they run abroad to Germany, to America for treatment. Meanwhile, we have hospitals here in Nigeria. So they have already told the world, and they have shown to Nigerians that they are leading, that they don't have confidence in our medical facilities and system here, and that the best medical treatment anybody can receive is abroad. And this is a guy who has been abroad, flying, floating the radio breakfast, whatever it is, for which offense was said to have committed before he came into Nigeria and was arrested. He's already used to medical treatment abroad. And then you seize his international passport. And then you ask him to go before the same moribund health facilities in Nigeria, which our own leaders have deprecated by showing an example that when you are sick, you go abroad, and you say you cannot. So where now lies the empathy that you have showed by so where I take this essential circumstances to grant you bail, at the same time you cannot have access. So it's like giving by the right hand and taking by the left hand.
We understand that his passports, Nigerian and British, have been confiscated by the court.
Yes.
Just to ensure that he's restricted, at least within the country.
Yes.
But let's look at the British passports. Obviously, it wasn't issued by the Nigerian authorities.
Yes.
Does the court have the right to confiscate passports that were not issued within the jurisdiction?
No, they have asked him to submit. Whether or not you issued it, the court has the right to make such orders.
It does?
Yes.
Okay.
If the motive is to restrict your movement, to keep you within jurisdiction. But the question now is, what is the basis? Because the court's fears is that this man will likely jump bail.
Right.
And if we allow him to go out of the shore of Nigeria, it will filter into the air. And the same man is telling you that I need to be attended to medically. And the best form of medical treatment I could receive is not within this country. So, and then you see his passport. So how can a man travel without passport? Whether Nigeria or British passport, even as a Briton, dual citizenship. When your Nigerian passport expires abroad, you cannot fly in unless you ask for a renewal of your passport. So whichever way, and then you are not a foreigner, you are a Nigerian citizen, you are also a Briton, and then the two passports have been confiscated, you cannot move. At the same time, you cannot attend to your health. If the facilities in the prisons, health facilities in prison were good enough, perhaps they would have taken care of him in prisons. So for me, it's more like a refusal, of bail.
Okay. Before we push this conversation forward on that line, let's look at jubilation across cities and towns in the eastern part of the country. Is it too early to celebrate?
Of course, it's too early to celebrate because they do not understand the implication of what they are celebrating. You need to look at the stringent bail condition, one after the other. First, you have to bring 3 sureties. Each of them deposit to an affidavit of 100 million naira. That's a total of 300 million. One of the surety must be a Jewish leader.
Do we have Jewish leaders in this country?
You can't find one. Where will you find one? If you are said a religious leader or somebody who practices whatever you are practicing, where are you going to do? The man has no passport to travel. Where is he going to find a Jewish leader? Mm-hmm. The Jewish people have not been involved in the struggle for sovereign state of Biafra. Where is he going to find one? That's an impossible demand. Number 2, you have to bring an Igbo man, a senator also, and I'm sure he can find that one. Number 3, you have to bring somebody who resides in Abuja, who has a property in Abuja. I'm sure he can also find that one. That's one. That's about the surety and all the rest. He has also been told that if you violate the bail condition, the bail will be revoked. Like I mentioned earlier, one of the conditions is that he will not be in a garden of more than 10 people. What that means is that he cannot go to church. How do you grant a man freedom and he doesn't have freedom of worship? Is there any place of worship, whether it's a mosque or church or whatever, even the people that worship Amadioha, where you find less than 10 persons? It's not possible. Like one of your guests earlier said, it means that even when his relations and friends are coming to see him, that he will have to now restrict the number of persons there. No, the people celebrating do not know that If he eventually meets the bail condition, that he cannot actually be in their midst. Otherwise, the bail will be revoked. So it is not time to celebrate. If you feel that the man has committed treasonable felony and you are charging for that, keep him there. But if you want to grant him bail that will actually make him have that temporary relief, that temporary freedom. Don't make the thing impossible so that they won't say we didn't grant him bail, let's just do it. I don't believe that we are actually moving in the right direction when it comes to some certain issues in this country. I think that the government of today need to do more than what they are doing. Because this is like the voice of Jacob and the hand of Esau. Mr. President had granted interview a time ago and justifying the reasons why he will not grant bail to Nnamdi Kanu and the Dasuki. That look, somebody who has done so and so, do you grant such a person a bail? Concerning Dasuki, as somebody who has stolen so much and all the rest, one is assumed to be innocent until proven guilty.
Could that position by the president in the course of that interview have influenced the courts?
Of course. Is it not, even if he meets the bail condition, which he has met in other bail conditions, you're looking at the timeline, it is the executive arm of government that controls the security apparatus of this nation. So the judiciary can make an order, say release the man. If the security agencies refuse to release him, and which is controlled by the executive arm, what will you do? They could charge him for another thing. Look at the case of the former first lady, who the FCC, she had a relief from the court. You can allow the woman to take her money, and then she went to the bank. I think she was able to get $100,000 or so. Then the EFCC applied for stay of execution. 2 days ago, they withdrew that stay of execution, went to another high court to also restrict that woman. So how do you do a thing like that? Instead of going to another high court, why not pursue your appeal?
You're already doing.
Why not pursue your appeal? Something that a call of same, how do you call it, same jurisdiction, same jurisdiction has ruled on. You went to another high court to get same, what we can call a kangaroo restriction. It doesn't work.
Let me go to Matthias.
It doesn't work well.
Earlier, just before you gentlemen came on the program, one of my guests, a lawyer, of course, had said that Justice Binta Yanko had overstepped boundaries with this pronouncement. And now, one is wondering, how much of question mark does this put on the judiciary?
Well, the court, bail is a discretionary relief. And the court must exercise that discretion judicially and judiciously.
Has that been the case with
yes.
this one?
Well, for me, I believe that it may not be exercised, most judiciously, given its state of health and given the condition which appears to be impossible to meet. So in which case, the essence of the grant of bail has been defeated, has been issued. So, but where such an order is made, there are two things an applicant can do. You either appeal against that decision, or you apply to the same court to vary that order. Say, look, these orders are impossible to meet. But something I read through on the web, I read through the content of the application made by Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, and I found out that the counsel was desperate, and the counsel actually asked that bail should be granted Nnamdi Kanu on any condition. On any condition. So, counsel apparently played into the hands of the judge by asking the court to grant him bail on any condition. Ordinarily, he would have asked for bail on liberal terms on condition that that could be fulfilled.
So does that point to a shoddy job done by the counsel?
Apparently, desperation, because you have to follow the legal procedure. When you are asking for bail, you must ask court to grant bail based on the existing facts and circumstances and the ability of the accused person to meet the condition of bail. You ask for bail on any condition, and like has been noted, the judiciary is also taking a cue from a directive of the executive, take it or leave it, because there's harmony. At a time when the judiciary was not giving favorable decisions to the executive, you find that the president came down hard to say, look, judiciary is the one frustrating the anti-corruption crusade. Before we knew it, he started attacking judges at home and the rest of it. So everybody wants to play safe. So they are watching the body movement of the Mr. President. He doesn't like this kind of stuff. So let it not be seen that I did not do my job. Okay, I granted you bail. You see, you ask for any condition. These are my conditions, which I know is insurmountable. So when you grant such things, for me, I actually believe that it amounts to a denial. So if they say that she has overstepped her bounds, legally speaking, I may not agree with that, in the sense that she has the right, she has her discretionary powers to make any release she wants to make, whether judicially or judiciously. But where she didn't make it, when she goes out of the parameters of judicial and judicious discretion, an appellate court can intervene. You know, but again,
so there's an appeal window for Nnamdi Kanu.
Definitely. Now, when an appellate court intervenes in such circumstances, they may likely want to throw this to the face of his counsel. You ask for bail on any condition, you know, and this was given to you. But however, you know, they must have seen that the conditions that have been given are too stringent in such a way that it can actually meet the essence of the application for bail. You know,
so let's look at what some persons have suggested, that if Nnamdi Kanu had maybe apologized to the government and the people of Nigeria and then perhaps written an undertaking, he probably could have been granted bail long ago. Maybe the issue would have been done away with long ago. Do you see any truth in that?
Why should they apologize? Apologize for what?
Maybe for the fact that he had been accused of treasonable felony.
well, depending on the person who is throwing up the charges. Because for everyone in Nnamdi Kanu that you kill or you imprison, 1,000 Nnamdi Kanu will arise.
it's the idea.
There cannot be peace where there is no equity and fairness. As I talk to you, there's no fairness in this country. That's the reality. I check the condition of federal rules in Edo State. How can a man live in this kind of country and then you are telling him to apologize? Apologize for what? In 6 weeks, sir, because I'm telling you the reason why 1,000 Nnamdi Kanu will arise. To say there is no fairness in the way we are running things in this country. In 6 weeks, the federal government claimed to have spent 6 billion naira to fix 3.6 Abuja airport runway. And in 6 years, 10 years, you cannot fix the Benin Auchi road. What are you telling me? In 1 month, you spend 1.1 billion to repair the Kaduna-Abuja road, dual carriageway. And in 10 years, you can't give the contractors handling the roads, federal roads in Edo State. I'm just talking of Edo State because I'm here. Money to run the country. And you say you should apologize. I apologize for what? Where is the fairness? Where is the fairness when Christians, you do not know that I'm the National Publicity Secretary of the PFN Youth Wing. You do not know that I'm the state youth leader of the PFN, Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria. For more than 1 year, the leadership of CAN and PFN have been looking for how to have access to leaders of this country to discuss the issues affecting Christians in Southern Kaduna. You can't get fairness. And you say you should apologize? Apologize for what? Has he taken gun against anybody? Has he been accused of killing one person? He only made a statement, and people have made such statement. A security officer is on the net now saying that if anything happened to Mr. President, he's going to kill 200 persons. Has he been investigated?
But we heard that the police are looking for him.
They are looking for him. Why should they be looking for him? Didn't they know? Listen, my brother. When people were killed, 815 persons were killed. Including on Easter Day, 13 persons were killed in Southern Kaduna. Up to today, the federal government says it's the state government that is taking charge, they are investigating and all the rest. The federal government has not taken one action. But a few persons died in Ife, a clash between the Yorubas and people from the north. And then one part, the federal government did not wait for police. They didn't wait for the Kaduna state government, the Osun state government to investigate like they did in Kaduna. They have gone there and they have locked people in prison. There's no fairness, sir. There isn't any fairness. It is wrong, sir, for me to have Bush refinery in my village in Joland. It's wrong because the solid minerals or the whatever minerals belong to the federal government. But it's also right for me to go to Zamfara, a village there, and begin to mine gold. And begin to mine things there. That one is not wrong. Yes, which country is that? Where do you do such a thing and expect for everything we are doing in this country, people are watching, they are documenting, a lot of people are going to rise, and a lot of people are willing to lay down their lives just for us to have equity, justice, and fairness in this country. Where there is no equity, where there is no justice, where there is no fairness, you can't find peace. That's exactly what's happening here. And we need to wake up. The people who run things need to run it well. They need to run it well. Where you place people, look at where we are today. People lie boldly to us. Yeah. Every week they are churning out lies against Nigerians. And people are expected to keep quiet. Who will keep quiet? Will not carry arms, we don't even have. We are not going to go to the street to protest, but God has given us the privilege to speak, and we'll keep speaking. Those who have the capacity to talk, let them move on. That's the only way we can make progress. I do not support the idea that Nnamdi Kanu should apologize to anybody.
But let's
because the state has not been fair to everybody.
Let's look at in specific. One of the things he's been accused of, which is running a radio station without passing due process. Because, I mean, I'm a broadcaster. I understand that there are dynamics, there are procedures for floating a radio or TV station. And we understand that he didn't pass through all of those standard procedures. That's one of the grounds on which the federal government is charging him. We have not seen his statement of health. But let's look, I mean, narrow down the look at the appeal window. Let's walk through the possibility of going for an appeal and what that might turn out to be ultimately in the light of this bail that's been granted him.
Yes, for me, it looks like a vicious circle. You know, and it could be very frustrating. And they could make people lose confidence, you know, in judiciary. Say justice is rooted in confidence. And confidence is destroyed when right-minded people go away thinking that, you know, the judge was biased. You know, the right-minded people are people out there who are watching. People, the international community and every other person, you know, Nigerian, they are watching. You know, and when they go away thinking that there's a bias here, like I've been noted, that the judiciary playing, you know, to the gallery of the body language of the executive. You know, and the confidence, you know, that is rooted in justice is being eroded. Then there's a big problem. So now going on appeal, what would you expect? You expect them to say, oh, well, okay, right, as it is now, I believe that this decision was too stringent. Okay, I allow you to go. If you allow him to go, I'm sure they're going to put a searchlight on that judge. And before you know it, they say there's also some money in his house, DSS will come after them. So everybody is trying to be careful. The judges themselves are no longer comfortable. We are in a country where impunity has taken the order of the day. Even when they are courageous enough to make orders, they will make some orders and we know what happened afterwards. Even the orders which he made, did they obey it? You make orders to grant him bail, they will not obey. They went to ECOWAS court, Dansuki, you refuse to obey. It just may exist. Nigeria is signatory to the instrument establishing ECOWAS court. And yet, the judgment was handed over. They say they are still studying. I'm sure till now they're still studying the judgment. You refuse to obey. You know, I mean, while the Supreme Court has come down hard, right, you know, way before now, you know, in the case of military of Lagos and Ojukwu, where they also came down hard, you know, on Ojukwu. And because, look, the judges must always respect the rule of law. It is when you do that, you create that egalitarian society, that society where there's peace, where there's amity. When you refuse to do it, then you are going to, you know, create a situation of chaos. So you are the leaders of the country, at the executive arm, why don't you obey orders so that you can also allow the other people to follow suit? So they are not obeying orders. You give orders from outside country, they will not obey. You give orders within country, they will not obey. So what do you expect for a judge now to now put his own destiny, his own life on the career on the line, to not grant you order that they still will not obey, but for making such order they will still come after you? So for me, just better Nyaku just you know, play safely. Okay, fine, I've seen that you need to be granted bail, you are not well. Fine, but I grant you bail on those conditions. It's you that know whether you can meet the condition or not. I've done my own part. If you don't like it, go on appeal. Actually, they also go on appeal, and the appeal, okay, where I also look at it, I've seen that your offense is so stringent, it's too stringent enough. In any case, treasonable felony, you know, the ingredients of that offense, you know, the evidence against him must have been too weighty enough in such a way that, you know, would have made him to continue to keep him in prison. He has a right to freedom of expression. He has a right to call, you know, for self-determination, which has happened in so many other countries. Even in Scotland, you know, when
but did he have to float a radio station to accomplish that?
You can,
the way he did.
The need to float a radio station is an avenue. It's a furtherance of his right of freedom of expression. I know, as a matter of fact, he must follow due process in trying to obtain a license and the rest of it. We are in an internet world,
right, in
such a way that you need not even float the radio station in Nigeria. You can float your station out there, you know, in Britain, and they are giving you permission to do so. And the airways come to Nigeria. So anyone that decides to tune to that airways and they receive a signal, then it's up to them. ITV now signal now, you know, it's all over Nigeria, and I'm sure even internationally on the YouTube.
Yes,
you can go out there and everybody listen to it. So did you get license from a British or international space to float your station in Nigeria? You got license in Nigeria, and yet the people out there can hear you. So wherever you got the license from, it's a means of expression. You know, so, and he's expressing himself, he's telling you that, look, I have a right to self-determination for the people of Biafra. Ojukwu started this fight. Ojukwu is gone. And now he's doing his own. When he's gone tomorrow, like I've been noted, another person will come, because there's no army in the world that can stop an idea whose time has come.
Yeah, and you think the time for
Biafra, I think the time has come because the disparity Because the double standard in treating people. Look at some people now who are in the executive arm. Others who committed offenses were rounded up by EFCC and they are in prison custody. Even those who committed offenses like Dasuki now, offenses of money laundering and the rest of it, which is also not capital, it's not a capital punishment, which ordinarily should be entitled to obey. They granted bail to him severally. They refused to obey that condition. And we're talking about a secretary to the government of Federation, SGF, and the NIA boss, who has also committed similar offense of money laundering, even they kept the money in their homes. And you see, sort of trying him, presidential committee should come and be sitting before a panel. And we're in an AGF, Attorney General of Federation, who once cleared the same man of those offenses, is also a member of the panel. So what are we talking about? Double standard. You're talking about now a man who has oil, in his backyard in Ogoni, and then you say for taking that oil and committed offenses. You also have some in the north who are mining gold, and there's no offense. Yeah. You find a northerner carrying a sword, or maybe even a day gun or any ammunition anyway, leading his cow. A head of car, you say there's no offense committed. Whether he has his own knife or whatever, he sees part of his dress accompaniment, trying to make ensure security. But for a Saturday who carries a small dagger in his pocket, when the police will arrest you, ask you, what are you doing with that dagger? Or don't talk of carrying a gun. Double standard. So you believe that people from the northern part of this country, whatever they do, it doesn't matter. You can always find a way of cushioning the effect. We can talk to them. Like Governor Erufai was saying, okay, I will pay you people to stop killing Christians. You can imagine that. I will pay you people to stop killing Christians. Meanwhile, those who were, soon now, certain a clash happened, you arrested one group of people, you left the other group. So the double standard is too much. And that is why people are saying that, as it is now, since we no longer have confidence in the system, why don't you allow the right to go away? And I have always mooted this idea that it could be done by way of a referendum. It happened in Sudan. It happened in England.
It's happening in Turkey now.
So, and I call for a referendum. And when the Igbos or any other person who want to belong to Biafra agree to move, they vote transparently. If they vote, you can't vote and they carry the day, you are allowed to move. If they want to stay, they stay.
But let's move the searchlight away from Kanu.
Yes.
He wasn't charged alone. He had other persons charged with him.
Yeah.
These persons have belief rooted in the Biafra ideology. Where are we going after this point on? Because we are told that those other guys were not granted bail alongside him, and some lawyers have said, obviously or likely because they didn't come up with applications for bail to be granted to them. So where are we going with this IPOB?
First, I'm happy that those guys who were not granted bail were also happy for him, because they know that it's not about them. Those guys are willing to sacrifice. If our leader can get a temporary relief, then it's okay. The ideology, the fight we are fighting is for IPOB. I'm not supporting any violent separation, any violent...
Sure.
It could be
yes,
peaceful.
No, I'm not asking for that. But these guys are willing. All the satellite TV stations are not here. We are no longer having 30 minutes. Most big churches in this country have their own TV station running 24 hours. We now show our TV live. How do you regulate it? It's not hosted here. Most of them are hosted in South Africa. How do you regulate it? So you get your satellite and you do it. So when you push people to a war, God opens doors for them, make a way for them. If you will not allow people who want self-determination, if you will not allow them to go peacefully, God will make a way for them. It may take some more sacrifices for them to get, but eventually it will happen. But for you not to have that, you must allow us determine what we want to do. I come from a part of Edo State that links Edo South and Edo Central. That is a community somewhere sandwiched between Esan and Edo South. You can't drive, as I talk to you now, you cannot drive from Agbo in Delta State through Igbanke to a place called Ekmon to Igwebe, Ebile to Rome. You can't drive through it. That's a federal road. That's a federal road. And they truck our oil from the south. Orion produces oil, which is where it come from. They truck our oil to the north. Right. The Minister of Petroleum is thinking of going to build another refinery in the north. And you expect us to keep quiet? We shouldn't talk? Many more persons will arise. We're not going to be violent about it, but we must keep talking. We must keep talking about it. We must keep speaking. We must keep fighting without injuring anybody. Double standard won't take us anywhere. Certainly it will not take us anywhere.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the program. I've been talking with Phil Aroje, public affairs commentator, and I've also spoken with a legal practitioner, Matthias Obayuwana. Thank you for coming, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And that's why we'll wrap it up on this discussion this morning that has to do with the bail granted to the leader of indigenous people of Biafra. My next discussion will be with an academic who has a handle on the issue of non-performing loans, implications for the Nigerian economy. Stay with us on the program.